Remember that the world record had stood at 1972 for 17 years, from 79 until the Olympic trials here in Atlanta earlier this year when Johnson went 1966. He lowered it by 6/100ths of a second, and then what's he do? He goes out and goes 1932 and lowers it by over 3/10 of a second. And there will be a quiz on this later.
Thank you very much, Evan.
And good evening. More baseball first. A professor of mine at San Diego State said the best thing about Camp Pendleton is it keeps LA out of San Diego.
You talk about 20-point-something million dollars, or in this case, 120-point-something million dollars. I'd take the point something.
I would too.
We think about a point, and you know that's hundreds of thousands of dollars. It seems like monopoly money, but it's real money to the people who are actually receiving the checks. One thing this program offers young people, even if they don't aspire to be lifeguards, is the chance to develop endurance for the first time. He was the leading rusher in Santa Barbara County history, not to mention the leading rusher at the University of Washington. But here at Raiders Camp in Oxnard, Napoleon Kaufman is just another rookie trying to win a job. Players don't usually leave their teams on their terms. Even star players seem to leave a year too early rather than a year too late. Baseball bubbly. The Atlanta Braves are the second of 8 clubs invited to the postseason party. They beat the Expos tonight. They win the National League East. And good evening. More baseball first. A professor of mine at San Diego State said the best thing about Camp Pendleton is it keeps LA out of San Diego. 2 towns and 2 teams at odds with one another this month in particular, usually all the time. Padres and Dodgers in their first head-to-head divisional race. Hideo Nomo gets a 1-zip lead courtesy Raul Mondesi. Fair or foul, it's fair down the left field line, but the Dodgers couldn't hold the lead. 1-1 in the 5th. Nomo, a curveball that doesn't curve. Steve Finley puts it in the bleachers. 3-1 San Diego. Padres win 3-2. They get back to within a half game of the Dodgers in the West. These two play 3 more starting Friday in L.A. American League, take a look at Santa Maria's Robin Ventura. He's keeping the Chicago White Sox in contention. 6th inning against the Twins in Chicago. Ventura with his 34th homer of the year. That's a career high for him. Sox win 5-1. They stay 3 behind Baltimore for the American League, a wild card spot. All right, football. And if you haven't had enough hate in your life, well, the San Diego Chargers have despised the Oakland Raiders for the last 36 years. That's a lot of hate. They've been at it longer than others. Meeting number 73 all-time in Oakland. Second quarter, 21-7 Chargers. Lompocs Napoleon Kaufman showing the speed that got him to the NFL. Down the sidelines, is he going to make it? I think I can. Well, hey, Willie Clark drags him down at the 3. The Raiders would knock in a touchdown and trail 21-14. 77-yard run for Kaufman. Fourth quarter, 33-21 Chargers. Jeff Hostetler picked off by the aforementioned Mr. Clark. 84 yards the other way to seal it. The Chargers reaffirmed the new Raider motto, commitment to lots of empty seats. San Diego with their 3rd win in 4 games. Oakland 3 losses in 4. George Seifert's 49ers on the road at Carolina. First quarter, no score. Backup Steve Berline zips it to Wesley Walls. 1 of 2 scoring connections for these guys on the day. 7-0 Panthers. Carolina pops the Niners right in the nose with a solid 23-7 win. The Panthers unbeaten in 3 games and in first place in the NFC West. Now near Boston, Santa Maria's Mark Brunell led a furious Jacksonville rally against New England. 22-0 Patriots. Last play of the first half. Brunell 65 yards in the air into a pile of bodies. It kicks up into the hands of Jimmy Smith. Wow, 22-7. The Jags tie it at 25 but lose in overtime. Jacksonville with a win in 4 games. Patriots 2-2. A rematch of the 93 and 94 Super Bowls in Buffalo. Bills hosting the Cowboys early, no score. Thurman Thomas pushed outside, but he says, all right, I'll get inside the pylon. It counts if you cross any part of the line. 7-0. Bills beat the world champs 10-7. Dallas has a win in 4 games. Buffalo 3-4. All right, time now to recap last night's games on football fields near and far. The Nebraska Cornhuskers, with 37 straight regular season wins, are no longer college football's top team. Arizona State gets this score from Jake Plummer to Keith Poole, and the Sun Devils 0 the Huskers 19-zip. In Orchid, Hartnell of Salinas came south for Hancock's home opener, and the Bulldogs built a 14-0 lead on this play. Adam Pinio to Joe St. Myers. Hancock wins 14-8. They play next in 2 weeks at Compton. In San Luis Obispo, Cal Poly also with their home opener, down 14 to Weber State in the 4th quarter. Ali Abreu finds Keith Harder on the screen pass. Poly's down 27-20. Weber, though, adds the field goal and wins by 10. Poly now with 3 losses to start 96.
High school ball down the street from there. Mission Prep hosting Layton out of the Central Valley. Second quarter, Layton's Jerry Orique makes it 6-zip on the runaround tackle. Layton adds 15 more and shuts out Mission 21-0.
September, the toughest month of the year to cram everything in. The pennant races in baseball coming to an end, football starting. It's tough.
Speaking of that pennant race, last week you had predicted Dodgers and Cleveland at the World Series. Dodgers lost today. I'm keeping my eye out.
They did. But hey, it could still happen. It'd be a rematch of 1920, Brooklyn and Cleveland, the only triple play in World Series history, since you asked.
Well.
Now, the big story in sports today, these NBA players, I tell you, keep making these big money contracts and switching.
You talk about 20-point-something million dollars, or in this case, 120-point-something million dollars. I'd take the point-something.
I would too.
We think about a point, and that's hundreds of thousands of dollars. It seems like monopoly money, but it's real money to the people who are actually receiving the checks. And we are talking about Shaquille O'Neal, because he is now a Los Angeles Laker. No joke. It only took the largest deal in team sports history to make it happen. $120 million over 7 years. That's an average of just over $17 million a season. O'Neal and Laker general manager Jerry West sealed the deal in Atlanta, where Shaq is prepping with Dream Team 3 for that little tournament called the Olympics.
The Lakers, they have great tradition. They have great big man tradition. George, Mike, and Kareem. And I'm just, I just want to go there and play hard. And they have a young team also. It's not like I'm, going to a team with a bunch of old guys.
More with Shaq at 11. Back in these parts, the Southern California Golf Association starts their annual amateur tourney tomorrow at the Santa Maria Country Club. The rules state that the event is played at the home course of the SCGA president, and that happens to be Tony Cosa of the Santa Maria Country Club. So it starts with 36 holes tomorrow, 18 each on Saturday and Sunday.
People are welcome to come out and watch it. There's no charge, and they'll see some real good golf, the best amateur golfers in Southern California.
And over 1,500 tried to qualify for this thing. Only 84 are in the field. One of the favorites has to be Santa Maria's Matt Murray. The St. Joe's grad is one of the best players at San Diego State, playing 1 or 2 all year. Today he played a practice round. Not that he needs to know about the layout, because it's his home course.
I've been playing here since I was 10 or 11 or something. I don't think too many people have played up here in nor this part of Southern California. Nobody gets up out here, so I think I got a great advantage because no one else has played the course.
We'll keep it on golf, and San Luis Obispo native Lauren Roberts is one of the few Americans this year playing in the British Open, and the Cal Poly alum is one of 8 golfers tied for 2nd place after 1 round of play. At number 12, the guy they call the boss of the moss because he putts so well, shows why he has that nickname, knocking it in from 30 feet. Roberts and the 7 others are 2 shots back of Englishman Paul Broadhurst, who is 6 under par. It's kind of neat to see, British Open, and we got a local guy over there at the top of the heap, or close to it.
That's great. He's doing well, and he knows the course.
Yes, he does. And as for Shaq, he knows about money. $207,000 a game. I hate to be suspended. If he gets suspended for a game for getting in a fight, $207 grand.
That would be incentive to play your very best.
And not throw elbows.
Right. Thanks, Jake.
Joining us live now from Centennial Park in Atlanta, 12 sports reporter Jake Downey. Now, Jake, a lot of people have been, probably think this is a nightmare trying to go to Atlanta and get around. How is it trying to travel there in the city and go to events?
That's valid in some respects. I got off the airplane on Wednesday, and I should mention that I'm on vacation, just having a good time. And it was great getting off the airplane and getting to the MARTA station. MARTA is the subway around here, and most of the venues where the games are being contested are within easy reach of MARTA. So it has become very simple getting around on the subway, except when people are leaving events and it is just packed. And today I waited through about 3 MARTAs that were just so packed we couldn't even get on the train, and we left the subway station and actually tried to walk down to Centennial Park, which was a little over a mile away, and I'm guessing it took at least an hour and a half. There are that many people here. Even though most of the streets in downtown are cordoned off, there are people everywhere.
So you get there kind of late in the game, but maybe at the right time, because I understand you were able to be at the event last night, track and field. You got to see Michael Johnson break a world record and go back-to-back in golds. What was that like, Jake?
Well, Kent, as you would agree, as sports guys, we sometimes get a little dispassionate about just watching sports. We love sports, but it's hard to get worked up about things. But last night, there were 2 events. That one, Johnson setting the world record in the 200 meters that just sent shivers down my spine. It was an amazing thing. The guys I was with, we were all guessing that he would lower the world record from 1966 to maybe 1963 or 62. What did he do? He goes 1932. We were saying that it was Beeman-esque, meaning Bob Beeman, who broke the long jump record back in 68 in Mexico City, broke it by 1.5 feet, and it was just an astounding record then. This is on a par with that. It is a record that Johnson thinks that he can break because he said he didn't run a perfect race, but track experts are saying that this was just astounding.
That wasn't a perfect race, huh?
That's what he said today, which is hard to believe. He thinks he could have gone down into the 19.2s, which when you're talking about 200 meters, a 1/10 of a second is just amazing. Remember that the world record had stood at 1972 for 17 years, from 79 until the Olympic trials here in Atlanta earlier this year when Johnson went 1966. He lowered it by 6/100ths of a second, and then what's he do? He goes out and goes 1932 and lowers it by over 3/10 of a second. And there will be a quiz on this later.
Thank you very much. Amazing feat. I can only imagine being there must have been some thrill. Tell us quickly about Dan O'Brien. He was there last night. He's the oldest man at your age, 30, to win the Olympic decathlon.
Hey, I'm not 30 yet. But, yeah, hey, let's hear it for the old guys. Amazing that we're talking about old guys in the Olympics being 30. There are certainly some older champions than that. But, yes, 30 as a decathlete is old, and yes, he is the oldest one. The other American decathlon champions, Bruce Jenner and Bob Mathias and Rayford Johnson and Bill Toomey, they were all here to congratulate O'Brien. There is a fraternity among those guys who were the greatest athletes in the world. Mathias, you may remember, in 48 and 52 from the little farm town of Tulare out in the Central Valley. He won it twice at the age of 17 and 21, so he can appreciate O'Brien doing this as well as the other champions, Jenner and Johnson and Toomey.
Jake, thanks for checking in on vacation. Jake Downey reporting live from Atlanta tonight. Go get him, guy, and have a great time while you're still there.
Lifeguarding can look glamorous, but these kids quickly learn the truth. About 80 Central Coast youngsters are in training this month, developing the skills of the trade.
We challenge the kids in all different ways. We do a lot of paddling, a lot of running, a lot of swimming, and we do it in ways that the kids are able to succeed. They're able to see their success.
One thing this program offers young people, even if they don't aspire to be lifeguards, is the chance to develop endurance for the first time.
I had a little bit of difficulty in the running part, but, you know, I'm starting to get used to it. They have us doing so many athletic stretches and exercises that it builds you up over the first week, and now I'm not sore at all, and I'm just having a great time.
Kids don't receive a certificate of completion, so attendance isn't mandatory. Some drop out because it is difficult, but that's the attraction to others.
I do a lot of surfing, and this really gets me in shape for all the sports I can do and everything.
The main goal is to teach kids about the ocean, about ocean awareness, about safety in the ocean, and teach the kids how to compete.
And they'll be competing for the first time this summer, Friday morning in Carpinteria. In Pismo Beach, Jake Downey, 12 News Sports. As a busy working mother of two, Julie Carroll squeezes in time for exercise. Her brand of choice, amateur boxing, training with local coach Willie Flores.
To go full fighting for 2 minutes at a time is probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I'm very headstrong, so whatever I set myself out to do, I'm definitely going to accomplish it.
Julie meets Willie here in Willie's garage in Napomo. They'll train for about an hour each time, 3 or 4 nights a week. Then Julie has to hop in her car and head off to work.
Hey, Jake.
She works 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. for the Pismo Beach Police Department. And she thinks that what she does in her spare time earns her respect in the macho world of police work.
They're really proud of me at work, because I know that most of them wouldn't get in a ring with anybody.
Recently, she took 3rd in her class at the statewide police summer games in Long Beach, earning a bronze medal.
She has dedicated herself to boxing, and not only boxing, but staying physically fit, and I give her a lot of credit for progress in the boxing world.
What we learn here in boxing is totally different than what we learn on how to defend ourselves as a police officer. Boxing is an art, and you definitely need to train.
And she'll continue training through the summer for her next fight in September.
Ozzie Smith attacks his pregame routine as usual, but Smith, possibly the finest fielder in the history of baseball, sits come game time, although last night he did pinch hit and ground into the game's last out.
Well, most people think that skill is what dissipates. I think that if you're a professional athlete and you have skills over 20, 25 years, they don't just go like that. So I think it's the energy level more than anything.
Players don't usually leave their teams on their terms. Even star players seem to leave a year too early rather than a year too late. Ozzie hasn't left the cards yet, but he finds himself sharing time at shortstop.
It wasn't that Ozzie Smith was opposed to playing 1 out of every 3 games. It was the way it was handled.
When he speaks of handling, he means by new Cardinals manager Tony La Russa, who installed Royce Clayton as the primary shortstop over Smith, a future Hall of Famer and a civic treasure in St. Louis.
As a shortstop, I haven't seen anybody can compare with him as of yet. He has made more great plays than any shortstop I've seen in all the years I've been here. And besides that, he's a dear friend who has conducted himself in all the years he's been in the major leagues with the highest of class. Hey, this guy, if he doesn't get into the Hall of Fame, something's wrong.
Part of being a professional is learning to deal with all of the adversity, and I think that's what makes champions, you know, being able to deal with adversity as it's put before you.
Adversity, something his long career has been short on. In Los Angeles, Jake Downey, 12 News Sports.